Well, the Gujarat Titans, a team that epitomizes on not buying a lot of star players, but they always try to buy maybe utility players, even if they're not big names, and sort of try and bring the best out of each and every player. And this time they almost succeeded in doing that. Another time, Ashish Nehra with his philosophy. I mean, the top three was surely amazing. I mean, throughout the season, the amount of consistency they showed, Sai Sudarshan in particular, followed by Shubman Gill and Josh Butler. But I mean, come the playoffs, they missed Josh Butler. Shubman Gill's form went down a bit, and nothing went correct. The last three games, their bowling, which was probably their strength throughout the season, didn't click. They ended up conceding 220 plus each and every match in those last three games. And guess what? They lost all three games. So I'm joined by Ashish and would like to dissect GT's journey this IPL and what better they can do in the upcoming season. So, I mean, GT, to be honest, what has been their, who's been the revelation, to be honest, you would say this year?
Sai Sudarshan has always shown potential, and more often than not, it was Prasid Krishna with his bowling.
Yeah.
He actually did wonders for GT.
Yeah, so Prasidh Krishna, I mean, he was with KKR. He wasn't really seen as a T20 bowler, and then he played one season with RR, did decently, then missed out the next couple of seasons owing to injury. But this time, GT paid faith in him, and I mean, guess what? He ended up with the purple cap. Amazing consistency, match after match. He kept on bowling those hard lengths, and he did amazingly. Even Siraj had a decent start to the tournament, though he sort of faded away in the back end. uh, Arshad Khan, Ishant, Quetzi did in bits and pieces. But yeah, the shocking part for me, I would say, was Kagiso Rabada and then the most Rashid Khan. I mean,
Yeah,
Rashid Khan was really, I mean, if you want to say anything on him.
Rashid Khan, like he has picked up 9 wickets at an economy rate of more than 9, and that's probably his worst season ever in IPL. And he, there used to be a time when people, if they scored 24 runs off his score of 4 overs, it was considered as a victory. But not anymore, and batters are not afraid to take on Rashid Khan, and that's one of the biggest blows for Gujarat Titans this season. So yeah, so that was one of the biggest drawbacks for Gujarat Titans this season.
Yeah, I
And
mean, Rashid Khan not able to contain those runs in the middle overs came back to haunt them in quite a few games. I mean, he was batters were smashing him for sixes for fun, and even in quite a few games they couldn't even complete his quota of four overs, which was unthinkable a couple of years back.
yeah, certainly. And the other guy who didn't show up to the occasion was Kirby Surabada. His stakes in the IPL has gone down since the time he left Delhi Capitals. Like not picking up wickets, going for too many runs. I don't know what he's up to, but his stakes has really gone down.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, these were two huge concerns, and that lower middle order. I mean, most of the games GT didn't even need runs from those, but when they needed, more often than not, it didn't come. Yeah, Washington Sundar played two excellent knocks. One was against SRH, and the one in the eliminator against MI, where he ultimately fell to a vicious Yorker from Bumrah. But I mean, apart from Washington, even Sharfin Rutherford showed his talent in glimpses, but quite a few games that that Punjab game, which was at the beginning of the season, then that MI game in the eliminator, the Delhi game where Butler scored 90 odd. He couldn't finish the game, so that was also a concern. Sharfin had his issues against the wide Yorkers and all. Shahrukh showed his talent in glimpses. Even Rahul Tewatia. I mean, Tewatia was not utilized for most of the season. I think he hardly batted maybe even 50 balls throughout the season.
Yes, and he probably didn't even ball this season, which is the biggest
Yeah.
surprise that I had.
Yeah, and I mean that's one thing. They need to bowl Shahrukh or Tewatia because that's when they can increase their batting depth. And most of their games, their number seven was either Rashid Khan. When Sundar wasn't playing, it was Rashid Khan or Arshad Khan, which is shocking even with impact player rule.
True, definitely,
Yeah, so
definitely.
I mean, with impact player rule, you need batting till at least 8 or even 9. But they had their batting was ending at 6 only, and even at 6, it was Tewatia who usually doesn't like to come before the 15, 16 over mark. So I mean, that batting was pretty
Yeah,
thin, though they didn't realize that throughout the season.
definitely. Their batting is pretty thin. The middle order is basically not non-existential middle order.
And also,
Uh,
they didn't play Glenn Phillips at the start of the season. Eventually, got injured, but they didn't play him at the start of the season. That was something which I got surprised because he had a
they
good
they
Champions Trophy.
Rutherford over Glenn Phillips. That was the only decision making that they had to take, Rutherford or Phillips, and they chose Rutherford. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so I think Gujarat, to be honest, needs to work maybe a bit on the structure of the team with this team batting lineup. I mean, there always lies a risk when the top three fails. I mean, the top three was amazingly consistent, and that probably gave them a chance to finish even in the top two. But what if
yeah.
Sai doesn't have such a season next year? What if Shubman doesn't have a season?
To be honest, they are poorly balanced than someone like LSG or Delhi Capitals. That's my opinion. They just got carried away on the back of the top three and a breakthrough season from Prasidh Krishna. Apart from that, they
Yeah,
just
and even to be honest, another name which I forgot to mention was Sai Kishore. He was one who bowled amazingly throughout the tournament. I mean,
they bas-
bowling in the crucial overs, taking up the wickets.
basically he was Gujarat Titans pulled off something that Rajasthan Royals has been doing in the last cycle. Kind of a similar structure with Butler and the top order scoring runs, batting order till 5-6, 6-7, sorry, and a bowling attack which gets the job done. But yeah, but the team is very poorly balanced and depends a lot upon a few key players. And when they go missing, like it's surprising. And not to mention their replacement for Butler in the eliminator, Kusal Mendes, and
Yeah, who
his
eventually ended up as an impact player for Mumbai. I mean, dropping so many catches and then getting hit wicket. So, I mean, to be honest, they need to work on the structure, and I would really want them to release Kagiso Rabada. I think Rabada is done in T20s. Then they can
I
still
want
keep coexist.
Kagiso to be released and be bought by Delhi Capitals by the way.
Yeah, so I mean, they can still keep Coetzee because he has got a bit with the bat also. But I think Rabada is done in T20s. Rashid, I'm not sure. I mean, a player
No,
of
no,
the
no.
quality of Rashid,
You don't release Rashid players like Rashid after a bad season. You back him even if he has a bad season next year. You again back him.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So Rashid, they will surely back him, but they need to increase that batting depth, and they maybe need to utilize a few more overs from Shahrukh and Tewatia if they want to increase the batting depth. Also, playing Glenn Phillips will give them that extra bowler in the top six. Then they can play that extra batter also. And I mean, yeah, that structure they
my,
need to maybe
my
modify a bit.
my question is, do they even have a proper batter that can be fit into the squad? Like to even play that extra
Yeah,
batter, need to have that proper option. Like playing some random guy who doesn't contribute a lot just for the on paper you have a long batting lineup. That doesn't work, right? Something that Delhi Capitals or some other franchises do. Like they have a long batting lineup, but none of them contribute. So what's the point? So
yeah. To
that's
be
also
honest, I mean, that structure is something which they need to have a look at because this was a team which was poorly constructed. No hiding from the fact. And if next year the top three doesn't have a season like this time, which is pretty obvious because more often than not, people don't recreate such seasons. If
true.
Prasidh Krishna has an off season, if Siraj has an off season, Sai Kishore has an off season, then they will end up at the bottom of the table. To be honest,
If Butler has option, everything else simple.
yeah.
It's
And
highly
Washington Sundar also won't play Knox like he played against MI every day. I mean,
yeah. But, see, for players like Washington Sundar, the graph is upwards and upwards from here on. So that's fine, but still, matlab, you cannot depend upon these bits and pieces stuff. Like
yeah,
not bits and pieces. Like you have some top contributions from the top, and then everything is bits and pieces. So that doesn't
yeah.
work.
So I mean, they really need to work on the structure and maybe do some good work in the auctions. But as of now, yeah, that's it for Gujarat. Please stay tuned for the other teams. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe the channel and please like and share the videos with as many guys as possible. Cheers. Goodbye.
Bye bye.